बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। उम्मीद करते हैं तमाम पाकिस्तानी खैरियत से होंगे। आज 16 मार्च 2021 जो वीडियो हम आपसे शेयर करने जा रहे हैं उसमें बिल गेट्स बुरी तरह से बेनकाब होगा और मेरे तमाम मुसलमान बहन भाई इस वीडियो को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें। हम जो अक्सर कहते आए हैं कि बिल गेट्स सेहत के नाम पे पूरी दुनिया को धोखा दे रहा है और मासूम बच्चों और सेहतमंद नौने हालों को वैक्सीन के ज़रिए से नुकसान देता आया है और दे रहा है। अब वक्त आ गया है तमाम मुसलमान आपस में इत्तेहाद से इत्तफाक से रहें और इस दजाली इंसान को बेनकाब करें, इसके ख़िलाफ़ आवाज़ उठाएं और इसकी तमाम झूठी वैक्सीन से इज्तनाब करें, क्योंकि ये बहुत बड़े एजेंडे पे काम कर रहा है। आप ये वीडियो देखें, इसके एक एक लफ्ज़ पे गौर करें और इसको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा शेयर करें। इंशाअल्लाह हक़ की जीत होगी और बातिल हारेगा। इस्लाम जिंदाबाद, पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद।
You just post your comments and you post your thoughts. You post your feelings down below as you're watching this information, okay? I'll be right back. So this is a video of Bill Gates briefing the CIA. And this video was done on April 13th of 2005. Let's listen together.
Excuse me, on the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the BMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalists, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the BMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach.
So what you're looking at here is two different graphs. This graph right here on this side in the green shows, it illustrates individuals who are what Bill Gates deems as being religious fanatics. Okay? There's a particular gene that is expressed in individuals, and those that are not religious fanatics, their genes look like this. Okay? So this is a religious fanatic over here in the green. This is a non-religious fanatic. Okay? All right.
The idea here is by studying this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from going on a bomb vest and going into a market, blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the BMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of BMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of BMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the BMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
Are you suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether it's a bullet in their head?
So the data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed in aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far.
So the CIA agent just asked Bill Gates, how do you propose that we're going to release this virus? Via aerosol is what he just said. This is Bill Gates' response. This was actually filmed. This was Bill Gates briefing the CIA April 13th of 2005, for those of you that are just chiming in.
Have used respiratory viruses, such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the
Really, we are talking about sarin right now because this is an incredibly potent and dangerous weapon out there. It was developed in the 1930s originally as an insecticide, and very soon after was converted into a weapon, which many people started trying to see how it might be exploited in different ways. Let's talk about where we think it was used in Syria. We don't really have any proof. We have a sense that it certainly would be connected to maybe some of the major conflicts in some of these areas, but how do you deploy this sort of thing? Let's flip this over and talk about this. Sarin can actually be launched toward a target by perhaps an artillery shell, or it can be carried by an airplane, or it can be fired by a missile, and it spreads very rapidly. It's a liquid and it turns into a gas quickly. Now, we showed it here so you could see something, but the truth is it is colorless and it is odorless, and somebody could be under attack from sarin gas and have no idea it's happening, even though this is much, much more lethal than cyanide. What does it do to you? Let's flip this over and talk about some of the symptoms. If you get hit by it, you could have blurred vision, you could have rapid breathing, you could have heavy sweating, confusion, you could have headaches, and in the most severe cases, you start talking about nausea and convulsions and paralysis and even death, as essentially this shuts down the body's ability to control your breathing functions. As I said, it's much more poisonous than cyanide, and in a heavy dose of this, death can occur within a minute. Plus, people who have passed through an area with sarin gas, it can actually travel in their clothes for 20, 30 minutes, so that if they go somewhere else, they can even contaminate other people nearby. That's why most of the world banned this as a weapon back in the 1990s, Brianna, and why there's going to be so much concern now that the U.S. is saying that in fact it's been used.
Sarin is a deadly nerve agent used in chemical warfare. This man-made substance, originally developed as a pesticide in Germany, was banned under the 1993 Chemical Weapons Convention. It attacks the body's nervous system and is so toxic that a single drop can kill a human being within minutes unless treated. Sarin is a clear, odourless and tasteless liquid which mixes easily with water. This means it can be used to make poison or contaminate food. It also evaporates into gas form. Once released into the atmosphere, it spreads, contaminating those who inhale it. Symptoms of mild exposure include headaches, blurred vision, breathing difficulties, vomiting and diarrhea. Exposure to high doses can lead to loss of consciousness, paralysis, respiratory failure and ultimately death. In 1988, some 5,000 people died when Saddam Hussein's regime carried out a sarin attack on the Kurdish village of Halabja in northern Iraq. 65,000 were left with severe injuries such as skin and respiratory diseases. In Japan, 13 people were killed and thousands injured in 1995 in a sarin gas attack on Tokyo's metro.